All right, we are live. Thank you guys for joining us on webinar number two of the claims webinar. This was one that I get a question on a lot. But first of all, thank you for those who are in the chat room. Stephanie, Dana, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Hector, Brian, Jose, Stephanie, Matt, thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for chatting. Before I start, do we have a poll question, Milan? No, we don't. If you see Milan commenting there, he's going to help you answer any questions that you might have as well. But if you want to post any questions, we really appreciate it. You could just, there he is. Hello. You could just click on ask a question, and then you could put your questions there throughout the broadcast. Milan will probably put a poll question too, so that, you could, I don't know, because I definitely like to see what kind of people we got. And actually, Milan, we had a good question last time. If you could put in there, is how many years have you been a public adjuster? I don't know. So that'd be kind of cool. What up, Sass? So that would be one good poll question. And then I don't know, I'm sure Milan could be creative for me and think of something clever. But anyway, let's get right to it, right? So the last webinar that we had was basically about getting started. It was just about, there's Milan there. Please put your question and ask a question. So that, yeah, we want that because the last 15 minutes of the broadcast, I will be answering any and all of your questions. So what was it? So the last webinar that we had was basically about getting started, right? So I was trying to see if I can give you guys some help, give you guys some advice on finding the work, which to me, still to this day, no matter what it is that we talk about in this webinar today, the most important thing is finding the work. So just understand that no matter what I teach you here today in regards to getting paid fast, you can't get paid fast if you don't have clients, right? So, that's the most important part. So we talked about in the last webinar, you can go, it's on YouTube for free. You could go ahead and check it out on basically the importance of building relationships with people and really getting to know plumbers, GCs, roofers, water mitigation companies, which I'm actually going to talk about again today. But it's just so important. Once you've got some good connections in there, you're going to get some really good referrals, which will in turn into really good claims, which will turn into good money, right? So just remember that. Number one, first and foremost, is finding the work. In this case, it's going to be a little bit more honestly towards people who are a little bit more experienced. I'd say if you've got a few years of experience, you're going to get a lot out of this, because I know that a lot of times people have trouble with just getting claims paid and getting claims paid fast. And that's what we're going to do. So let's get right to it, because knowing me, I'm just going to talk too much and run out of time. So let's get right to it. So first, if you could just give me a chance, we're going to have to share the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see here. If you don't mind, just giving me 1 second. All right. We're going to share here. All right. We are doing it. Okay. Let me make sure that we are full screen. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on a second. I'll get this going. Haven't practiced this since last month, so give me a break. It will happen very soon. All right. I think we're doing it now, right? Okay. Okay. I think we're good, right? Milan, can you confirm? I could see the chat room here. Can you confirm that we're okay here? We sharing the full screen? I think so. All right. I think so. All right. If anything, if you guys can't see the screen, just someone let me know, but I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So, all right. So we're at webinar number 2. And basically the name of this webinar is how to settle your claim fast. Split screen, half you and half your slide. Right. Okay. Thank you for that. We did it last time. Warning, it looks like you're back. Okay. Weird. How about now, guys? All right, good. Sorry about that. All right, so first one is how to settle your claim fast without having to wait years to get paid. All right, so we're gonna get right into this is basically the introduction. So now I'm guessing for a lot of you, this is probably not your first webinar. Once you failed at getting your claim paid in a timely manner, I'm sure you guys have failed in getting your claim paid in a timely manner, or your claim seems to drag out because just because the insurance company isn't responding, or your claim is with an attorney that you haven't heard from in months. God, I remember that used to happen all the time. I want to tell you that I've been there. When I first got into this business, I would get so frustrated because not only did I have a ton of open claims out there just waiting to get paid, I was also broke and having to live with my parents until my mid-20s. So if anybody here is in feeling me there, yeah, that was a common thing, right? And it just sucks because you have to wait to get paid. So if you're concerned about not getting paid or not getting your client paid enough, or if you're just concerned that you or they won't get paid at all, I can tell you once again that I've been there as well. I've sent email after email, left voicemail after voicemail without a single response. And it would make me absolutely crazy. So also, if there was a denial of the claim and we needed to send it to litigation, forget about it. You could almost consider that file lost forever. Not only would it take years to settle in litigation, but whenever I wanted information from the attorney's office, I never really got the answer that I wanted. So the other thing is the insurance companies and their affiliates and their adjusters, they want to make us look like we're the bad guys, like we're the ones dragging out the claims process. They want everyone to believe that we are forcing insurance companies to pay higher than normal on their claims, and that's simply not true. Our job is simply to get the client what they deserve. If the insurance companies were paying out these claims accurately, well, then we wouldn't be needed at all, and public adjusters probably wouldn't even exist. So the insurance companies also want you to believe this because it's in their best interest to delay the claims, and it's also in their best interest to underpay the claims. Look, I'm a public adjuster, and I don't hate insurance companies because we need insurance companies because frankly, without them, we wouldn't get paid either. But it's just the nature of the beast, right? Did you know that approximately 85% of claims go undisputed? Did you also know that the longer a claim drags out, the more they make in policyholder premiums? So I'm here to tell you that as public adjusters, the whole idea of representing the policyholder makes getting the policyholder get paid faster in our best interests. As a public adjuster, it is in our best interest to get the claims paid faster. Since we don't get paid until our clients get paid, we must try to get our claims paid as fast as possible. Obviously, this is different for the insurance companies. I've tried many things to speed up the claims process, and I've developed some useful strategies that have helped me settle hundreds of claims for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I want you all to achieve the things that I have and plus more. I know you have a dream to change the game and change the industry and change the world and do what's best for the policyholder, and I want to show you how to do it. So, let's see here. I want to get to my goal here. My goal is for the beginners, you'll learn about my workflow and some of the tools that I use to keep everything organized and up to date. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. And for the more experienced people, you're going to learn about some of the techniques that I use to apply pressure on the insurance company to get these claims paid in less than 2 months. My second goal is it's an overall opportunity to learn from all of my failures and mistakes throughout my 12 plus years of experience. It's also an opportunity for you to have someone to look for to advice and to answer any and all of your questions in order to reach your goals. All of these webinars, the podcast, the blogs, the videos, it's just to help you achieve continued success in negotiations, claim settlement, new and repeated referrals, build great relationships, and most of all, achieve financial freedom. Just to give you a brief story about myself, if you haven't heard before, and those of you that are new here, when I first started, I didn't know the first thing about public adjusting. I didn't know the first thing about insurance. Frankly, I didn't know anything about anything. I was a tennis instructor, and there was one day where I was teaching a public adjuster tennis. He told me about his industry. I Googled it, and it just, the rest is history. I sort of fell in love with it. Worked for State Farm for 1 year. And after working for State Farm, I decided to go on and become a public adjuster. And in the beginning, it was very hard. And there was no places that I can go to find any kind of education on what this was about. Basically, the person that I was working for just threw me out there with the wolves and said, go get them signed. Go sign claims. Sign them, sign them, sign them. I wasn't allowed in the beginning to work the claim from beginning to end, so I didn't learn much. But then when I went into my next company the second year, I was able to really work my claims from A to Z and learn on the job, basically. But I was always looking for a place to find it. Working throughout the years, also with a smart attorney who was willing to spend the time to teach me and the importance of building a storyline through emails and follow-ups, documenting everything and holding the insurance company accountable for their actions. That was like my real big domino effect where it just all started to click. And that's thanks to David Farber. If you go on YouTube channel, you see the last podcast that we had. We've been together, we've known each other for a long time, and he's really helped me throughout a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be sort of teaching you here today. We all want to make money, right? And these strategies and techniques will literally make you more money because you will be making money faster. It's very simple. The faster you're able to make money, the faster you're able to get these claims paid, the more you will make in the long run. So you don't wait for years to start making money. Let's start making money today. Can we all agree, right? Everybody? I'd say so. So let's get right into it, right? So the Claims Advocate webinar number 2, the title of this is going to be called How to Settle Your Claim Fast Without Having to Wait Years to Get Paid. And what we're going to be talking about mainly, we'll get to your 3 biggest fears, right? So in my opinion, and just a lot of the questions that I get throughout social media, these are some of the fears that I realized that a lot of people had and that I had when I was first starting. So your 3 biggest fears: if my claim doesn't get paid, then I don't get paid, right? I know what you guys are going through. For those of you that have started, and for those of you that have been doing this for a while, I know you were there when you first started. We are strictly commission based. Unless you happen to work for a company that's giving you a draw or paying you some kind of salary for some reason, which I've never really heard much about that, you're not getting paid until your client gets paid. So what do you do when you're first starting out and it's taking 3 months or a year for your claim to get paid? You're not getting paid. I'm going to help you with that. What can I do to move this process along faster? I'm going to help you with that. And I want to settle the claim, but I want to make sure my client is satisfied. What do I do? A big question I get is, what do I do? What is the question I get? It's usually somewhere related to, what do I do when it's not worth my percentage, right? So in Florida, we charge 20%. I don't know what you charge in other states if you guys are here from other states, but in Florida, we charge 20%. And, sometimes you get the question from the client, but you also fear as the public adjuster that hiring you is not worth it. Okay. I'm going to teach you right now today on how you can make sure that no matter what you get the client, it will be worth it. Okay. It's just sort of how you present it. You want to make sure that they are involved in the process, but we're going to get into that. So here are my 3 secrets to success that we're going to be talking about, right? So it's going to be gathering documentation. I'm going to teach you the 4 most important pieces of documentation that you need to provide upon the initial inspection. Do not waste time. We will get into that. Follow up and workflow. It's literally taken me 10 years to come up with this. Okay. So hopefully I could teach this to you like as soon as possible. I'm going to show you my workflow and how I handle all of my claims from beginning to end. I'm going to show you the importance of following up with the insurance company and following up with the insurance company weekly. And negotiation tactics. Yes, my favorite thing to do in the whole wide world is negotiate with the insurance company. Notice I said with the insurance company and not against the insurance company. What I've learned over the years to work best when negotiating to settle your claim with the insurance company. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Secret number 1, gathering documentation. Okay. These are the 4 most important pieces of documentation that you need to provide upon the initial inspection. Okay. Do not waste time. Gather this stuff immediately. So here's 2 out of the 4. Letter of representation, demand estimate. Obviously, you cannot represent the client unless you have a letter of representation signed. At the last webinar, we provided a template of my letter of representation, but I know for a fact that it's pretty standard throughout the industry. Shouldn't be too hard for you to find. But if you don't have one for some reason, or you're not sure how it's supposed to look or whatever, send me an email. I'll be happy to send you. I do have a template of mine, so you can take a look at it. You need to show this before the inspection. When you file the claim, you don't have to file the claim with the letter of representation, but you're going to have to provide it for them to contact you to just schedule the inspection. Have your demand estimate already finished by the time you have your initial inspection. What happens in the initial inspection? Obviously, they go in and they put an estimate together. It's great if you could have yours already prepared and sent to them, or sent right after the initial inspection, so that they know that it's there. Something that's very important here is these last two, right? Expert documentation and mitigation. You want to have this done beforehand. And what is expert documentation? If it's a plumbing loss, you want to get that repaired and you want to have an invoice for proof of that repair. If it's a roof leak that you have and it's an active leak, well, it just shows, it's really good if you show the insurance company that that leak is no longer happening and you called a roofer out and the roofer made the repair. It is okay for you to refer to the experts. You ask the client, do you know a plumber? Do you know a roofer? Chances are they're going to say no, and you are already in the industry and you should know one already, or at least have contact to somebody who knows one that you could call out there. A plumber and a roofer or whatever it is not going to say no to your business, and they're going to go out there and make the repair that needs to be done to stop the leak. Proposal is another thing. In Florida and Miami, we have a lot of sewer line, drain line, sewer line claims where we need to get a proposal on what it's going to cost to replace the entire drain line, which, you know, could be thousands upon thousands of dollars. And you don't want to do it before because that's a big job, but you want to at least have a proposal on what it's going to cost. If you need a roof replacement, have a proposal from a roofer on how much it's going to cost to replace the roof. Yes, you can put that in your estimate, all that stuff, but just trust me when I tell you, it's going to help your claim a lot if you've got an expert, a licensed and certified roofer, a licensed and certified plumber, general contractor that provides you with the documentation that you need to help prove your claim. Because once you have a roofer to propose a new roof as a result of hurricane damage or wind damage, it's going to be hard for them to fight that. So make sure that you have your expert documentation already on hand by the time you have your initial inspection. And then, of course, mitigation. Not just dry out, but also a tarp on the roof. You just want to show that the insured abided by their duties to make sure that the damage is not getting worse. So if it's a plumbing loss, you make the repair and you get the company in there to put the dry out machines and dry everything out to make sure there's not going to be any future mold growth or anything like that. If it's a roof leak, you can get the repair done, but you could also get a tarp up there just to make sure, once again, that leak is not making any of the damage any worse. So these, to me, 4 most important things that I want you to have before you have the initial inspection. So here's what I do. On every single one of my claims, the first thing that I do is I file the claim, I gather all the documentation. By the time I file the claim, usually I've got the expert documentation in the file and mitigation is in the works and is probably on its way to me within the next couple of days, because, you know, it's got to be, machines usually have to be in there for about 3 or 4 days. I have a lot of water damage claims, by the way, guys. So if you notice me referring to water damage claims, just understand that's why. And then I don't do my estimates anymore. I send an estimator out to do my estimates. I did my estimates for 10 years. I feel like it's now time for me to have somebody else do it. As soon as I file the claim, I send the phone number, name of the insured, and the address to my estimator. He makes an appointment with the homeowner. He goes in there, does the estimate. I usually, after everything is done, 3 days, I've got the estimate. Usually inspections are done within about a week, 5 to 7 days from the date that you file the claim, or from the date that you sign the claim. So you've got some time. So then what I do is, once I get to the initial inspection, I haven't sent anything yet except the LOR. I get the card from the field adjuster, get his email address, and I send him all the documentation. You got proof now. Whether you send it to the field adjuster or whether you send it to the desk adjuster and the insurance company, it does not make a difference, okay? As long as you've got that proof that an email was sent with the attachments of these 4 main documents, now you're putting them on notice that you've provided them with everything. Let me go back here. We're going to get to follow up in a little bit, but the reason why these are called the Big 4 is because this is everything that an insurance company needs in order to complete their investigation. What else do they need? Because when you think about it, they've got these 4 documents. They've got expert documentation. They've got mitigation reports. They've got, your LOR. They've got your estimate. They've got their insurance adjuster's estimate. They've done the initial inspection. What else is there to do? If they want to send their own expert out, that's fine. If they want to further investigate and get a proof of loss, you might want to send them a proof of loss along with this as well. But get these 4 documents in, and you could start holding them to the fire to tell them, what else do you need? Because if there's nothing else that you need, I want this claim paid by the end of the week. And yes, you are allowed to say that. And I'm going to show you some of the emails that I send to the insurance companies to put them on notice that they need to pay. So this is why, again, it's important to build your team. You have to build your team throughout your career. You want to try to build at least one good relationship with one of each of these professions. It's why I like networking organizations, for example, like a BNI, because a lot of times you have some of these people in there and it's sort of automatically a good relationship, at least somebody that you could count on if you need documentation. So build your team. You want to get a plumber that you know, a roofer that you know, water mitigation company that you know, AC expert that you know, general contractor that you know. List goes on. Anybody in the construction industry can really help you when you need to provide the documentation that you need to help your claim get paid and get paid fast. The story of a team, this was great. When I started doing some traveling, which is the great part about this job, right? I started doing some traveling. I would get new claims in. I could still send my, if I sent one of the guys on my team, a public adjuster, and he said, we've got a claim here, from my phone, from email, to this day, I can call a plumber and a water mitigation company to be out on the same day without me having to be there. It's just really cool. And the reason why I say a story about this is because it's really cool when you're not there. When I know I'm telling the story only because the homeowner called me and like, wow, like that was amazing. You didn't even come here. You sent the public adjuster out. He confirmed that we have a claim and there needs to be a claim needs to be filed. From there, you were able to coordinate a plumber and a water mitigation company to meet out on the same day to take care of the repair and the water mitigation, and the claim was filed. And by the time I returned from my trip, I was there for the initial inspection and everything was good to go. So this is the importance of building your team. You don't have to be there once you have people that you can trust and that people that you could count on. Is it hard to find people that you can count on in this industry? Sometimes, yes. I'm not going to lie. You're going to be hit or miss sometimes. But eventually, the longer you're in it and the more open you are to building these relationships with these people, the better your team's going to be, the stronger your team's going to be. So I strongly recommend try to build a team, okay? You guys aren't working for each other, but you're referring each other, okay? And they're going to grow their company, which is going to help you grow your company, and then everybody's going to be happy. So it's very important you build your team. Get out there and meet these people. Super important. All right, let's get to secret number 2, which is follow-up and workflow. Okay, so my workflow and how I handle all of my claims from beginning to end, and the importance of following up with the insurance company weekly. Okay, so here it is. So here's the typical life of a claim, which is the way I handle it. So we have the initial email. So the initial email could be, so the initial email is going to be just the filing of the claim. So once the claim gets filed by phone, usually, there will be an email with my letter of representation attached. And that's it. So now we know they've got the letter of representation. They have to deal with me because we sent them the letter of representation. Sometimes they want to go behind your back and call the insurance company directly. But frankly, once you have that letter of representation, it's a little unethical for them to do it. Are they allowed to do it? By all means, yes. You're not allowed to tell them that they're not allowed to contact the insured. But when they've got the letter of representation, they should be contacting you, plain and simple. So initial email goes out the exact same time that the claim is filed. As soon as while I'm on the phone and I get the claim number, I'm already punching in that claim number into the subject line and sending off that email with the letter of representation. The next thing that happens is the initial inspection. And as soon as we have the initial inspection, there's a follow-up email that goes in, which basically states, here is all of the documentation that you need to settle this claim. Another follow-up email that goes is usually 7 days after that. So I want to tell you guys, for those of you who are on here now, there's 32 of you. I want you guys to stay on this to the end because Milan is going to provide you with a link to all of my emails. So don't go anywhere. I see you, 32 people. All right, Sebastian, I see you. I'm going to provide you with my emails, with just a template. You know what I'm saying? Of all that we have, and all my emails that I send. So follow-up email goes, I send an email every single week, guys. Every 7 days. I'm going to show you my calendar, but it's every 7 days. There's a calendar that pops up and says, hey, it's time to follow up with this. Every 7 days. I do not wait. And basically the email is just, hey, we've already sent you this, and that. We've already had the initial inspection on this date. Are you prepared to make a coverage decision / payment on this claim? Very simple. Then if we don't hear a response for 14 days, I don't know if you guys know, but most of you should know that the insurance company is supposed to follow up with you and respond to you within 14 days. There is a statute. There is a law that states that they need to respond to you within 14 days. In the emails that we're going to leave you at the end of the webinar, you're going to see that statute in the letter. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but do not be afraid if they have not responded to you by the second email. So I would say you've already sent one after 7 days. You sent another after another 7 days. And basically, it is the next email after that. It's going to be the 14-day no response email. Don't be afraid to do it, guys. Do not be afraid. Trust me when I tell you, you need to put all this stuff in you need to have all this stuff as evidence if the claim does get denied or underpaid and you need to go to litigation. Your attorney will thank you. So there is a statute, there's a law, and put that in your email that's saying, we've already sent you an email on this date. We've sent you an email on this date. We've done initial inspection on this date. We've sent you all this documentation already. And you haven't responded to any of those emails. Please, I'll remind you of the 14-day statute that you guys must respond within 14 days. If not, you're in trouble. It's basically bad faith. So send them that email. You're going to get a response from that email. Okay. And you probably would have gotten a response from one of the other 2 emails too. But if you don't, you'll get a response from this one. Okay. So if they don't respond to this one, you could try one more time. And then you could start basically speak to your client first and let them know that they're opening themselves up for a lawsuit if they do not respond to your email. Do not be afraid. You're going to see that in my emails that you get at the end of this webinar. Don't be afraid to send that stuff. Okay. You need to. It's the only way that they're going to listen to you. And then, of course, everybody knows, at least here in Florida, the 90-day time limit that the insurance company does have to pay the claim. I usually send an email like this at around the 80th or 85th day. And again, I put the statute, which you will get in the letters at the end of the webinar. There is a statute of a 90-day time limit that they have to make a coverage decision on their claim. The other thing I'd like to remind you, or I'd like for you to remind the insurance company, is that a lot of these people are suffering active leaks, active roof leaks, or they're just, dealing with a situation that's not pleasant. Make them aware. I like to make them aware now, especially of the COVID-19 crisis, especially some claims that I have where their kitchen cabinets have been damaged severely and they've been had to be removed from the house. Imagine being 60 years old, stuck in your house with no kitchen. So I like to remind them of that every single time. Not only are you taking forever to pay this claim, but we have an insured who is stuck in their home throughout this quarantine process of coronavirus. And it's not right. So I like to let them aware. So make sure in all your emails, guys, okay? I don't have this listed out in the slides here, but if you could write something down now. Make sure in all of your emails, you're including the dates in which that you have sent the previous emails without a response, or even with a response, the dates in which you've sent the emails, the dates of any inspections that you've had on the property, the dates of any recorded statements that you've taken, and remind them of all of the documentation that you have sent up to this moment. Put that in every email. If you have to freaking copy paste an email and just change a little bit of it, that's fine too. But make them aware in every single email of everything that you have provided them thus far and everything that has been done in this claim thus far. And then you want to end the email. Again, you're going to see this. You're going to see this at the end of it in my templates. But then you want to end the email with basically, is there anything else that you need? Because if not, we want a claim decision / payment in the next 7 days. That's what I usually put. You always get a response. I always get a response. I'm pretty sure you will too. If you guys want to show me some of your emails, I'd be happy to fix them or, help you out with that. Got to be strong, guys. All right, so here are some of my tools that I use, okay? So just to help me out in general, I use Google G Suite. I can't remember how much. I think it's like 30 something bucks a month, but it's unlimited storage. That's right. Unlimited storage that you have. So all of your pictures and all of your videos that you have from your claims and all of your documents, don't even have to worry about storage space. If you get Google G Suite, it's unlimited. And the other thing is you could also have your own URL. So my personal company is Elite Resolutions, and we basically have all of my team. We have our own at eliteresolutions.com. So it's John at eliteresolutions.com, Vince at Elite Resolutions. So that's kind of cool. It also gives you access to the Google Calendar that everybody can share, and you could share it with specific people, and you could share it with some people in the organization, some other people. You could share some calendars with some people in the organization, share some calendars with other people in the organization. Ask Milan here. He knows he's got his access to certain things and not access to other things. So Google G Suite is great. There's a link right here that Milan just put up here on the chat. We are an affiliate. I have an affiliate program with them, so you'd be supporting the show. If you decide to go with Google G Suite, you click on that link that is on the chat here, and whichever, there's the promo codes. They're freaking long, but there's the promo codes, and yeah, you'd be helping us out a little bit. The other thing that I use is Trello, which I'm going to get to in the next slide. Again, that's another like $20 or $30 a month, but it's a lot cheaper than a CRM, guys. I get people asking me all the time, what CRM should I use? What CRM should I use? And I don't use one. I use Trello, and it works for me. It works fantastic. I think it's great. Once you figure it out, which I'm going to show you how to sort of do that real quick, it's pretty awesome. And then in order to chat with everyone, I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's been working out fantastic, is Slack. Slack is a chat. It's sort of, I guess, like a WhatsApp, but it's even better because you could have all these separate little chat rooms with the different people in your organization. And also you could have a chat room where everybody's talking together, and it's really cool. So Slack is what I use for communication amongst everybody in the organization. That's what my Trello board looks like. I'd like to go. I'm going to have to see if I could open. I have it open here. I think I could open it and share the screen. I don't know. But anyway, this is what it looks like. I'm going to see if I can show you real quick. Let me see if you guys, no, you guys don't see that. Okay, that's fine. All right. No big deal. All right. So what we'll do is I'll take care of that later. So this is what Trello looks like. So if you look at it real quick, if you see, basically, we have a board for new claims. So as soon as I get a new claim, I add a card and I put the name of the insured, and then I could add information inside about the claim. I could also upload documents on here, photos, and whatever it is that I need. The beauty of it is I could also provide all the contact information of the desk adjuster, the insured, the policy number, the claim number. And then basically what we do is once we have the new claim, I move it into the open claims folder. And then it goes into the open claims. And then depending on where we're at in the process, we move it from new claims to open claims to appraisal to mediation to litigation. The other thing about this is that it could also, we could also put calendars. So I have a calendar on there that I set. So as soon as the claim gets touched, so if I receive a phone call from an insurance company, if I receive anything at all, as soon as a claim gets touched, then basically I just update the calendar for another 7 days. So as soon as I get a call from the insured asking me a question, I go in and I update the notes, because I could leave notes too as well. If we have some time, I'll see if I could show you real quick. So let's just keep going. So last but not least, secret number 3, negotiation tactics, right? So this is what I've learned over the years that works best when negotiating to settle your claim with the insurance company. So the best strategic advice, know what you're trying to accomplish before you go in there. So when you're about to settle a claim, know what you're trying to accomplish. And what I mean by that is have a number in mind sometimes. It's not a bad thing to have a number in mind. Also have an idea of what you're willing to give up and what you want or what you're not willing to give up. So go through your estimate. Do not be afraid to go through your estimate and make sure you know exactly sort of what you're looking for as a result of this negotiation. Develop a game plan. All right. So here's what I do is I go through the estimate and I go through the adjuster's estimate and I figure out what's missing in theirs and I figure out what I'm willing to take away from mine. Okay. So here's what I do. All right. Hope I'm not giving too much of a secret. Hope there's not any insurance adjusters, but no, it's okay. One of the tips that I've learned, I'm going to get to the next slide is going to be the books that I've read. One of the tips that I learned, guys, and this is something that I think you could take away, is stay away from whole numbers. Okay. So what I mean by that is I'll go through the estimate and I'll take away some things that maybe I don't feel needed. So let's say, if I know that permitting is not going to be needed, I might take it off my estimate. If I'm willing to concede to, I don't know, to cabinets, to countertops, to paint or whatever, there's certain stuff that I'm going to go through line item by line item and I'm going to take it off, but I'm going to take it off to a T. So if it's, I don't know, $144.34, I'm going to write that down. If something that I'm willing to take away is, $2,148.28, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to add it all and I'm going to make my offer to settle an exact number. So if my offer to settle is $34,328.26, that's what I'm going to say. Why? If you just give a whole number of I just want to settle for $35,000, then it comes off as you didn't really come up with that number legitimately. Like you just sort of pulled that number out of your ass, basically, right? So if you give an exact number, okay, down to the cent, it shows that it's it shows more that it's an actual hard, true number that you're trying to get to. And more often than not, just by doing that alone, if you can learn anything here, give an actual true number, you're going to get a little bit closer to the number that you're looking for. Because even now I laugh when the insurance company, gives me a whole number. And I know already you're giving me a whole number of $25,000. Let's say, I know that that's not your true number. You just got that number. Somebody told you that's what they wanted you to get. So I know you could probably move from that number. So my advice, when you negotiate, give a hard number down to the cent. It's going to, I think that little thing right there is going to help you a little bit. I like to work towards a win-win, and I'll tell you why, and give client realistic expectations. Okay, if you have an estimate for $100,000, you know that you're going to have to negotiate. Talk to your client. If your client knows already that you have an estimate for $100,000 because you had to sign a POL or whatever, well, just let them know, listen, that number is negotiable. I want you to know you're not going to get $100,000. I'm going to do the best that I can to get as close as possible, but let them know right off the beginning. I always like to say low expectations, high rewards. If you give them low expectations, the rewards that you're going to get are going to be high for them. So let them know if they've seen your estimate of $100,000 that it's not going to be that. So ask them what's a number that they're looking for that you could try to settle for. Because I'm a firm believer of happy client, happy life. You know, happy wife, happy life. Well, this is happy client, happy life. So the goal here, the reason why I put this happy client, happy life is because here's my strategy. And you guys may disagree, which is fine, but it's worked for me. Because at the end of the day, the way you're going to grow your business is by having happy clients, because they're going to refer you. They're going to leave reviews. They're going to do all the things that you need them to do to help grow your business. So if you have a $100,000 estimate, but the client is just going to be thrilled with $50,000, sure, anything you get over that, that's great. But understand that you might, if you're able to get them $50,000 and they're going to be ecstatic about it, there's nothing wrong for settling your claim for $50,000. Again, some of you might disagree with this, but at the end of the day, if the client is able to get everything that they're supposed to get done for half of the estimate or whatever it is, don't be afraid to work with the insurance company and try to settle it for a little bit less than maybe you wanted to. Okay? Because as long as the client is happy, that's okay, in my opinion. Here's my favorite books. Okay. So Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is probably number one. Oh, never spelled wrong. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is this guy was a hostage negotiator for years for the FBI, and he wrote a whole book, and it's fantastic. He talks about different personality types, not just your personality types, but understand your personality type and understand the personality type that you're negotiating against or with. Assertive, analyst, accommodator. Assertive is just an overbearing person who's just very, very aggressive. You need to know how to either match some of their intensity so that they don't bully you, but also don't get frustrated. Just understand that that's their personality. An analyst is somebody that just wants hard numbers. Analyst is somebody that wants really details. So if you can get them those hard numbers and you can tell them exactly why you're looking for the number that you're looking for, chances are you're going to convince an analyst that the reason why you're looking for that number is, legitimate. And then there's an accommodator, which is a person who just wants to accommodate, wants to storytell, and wants just everybody to be happy. These are the people that, you want to make sure that you just understand understand their personality and just try to work with them as best you can. DJ voice is somebody that talks like this. They say that if you never overreact and if you never talk louder or lower, that you'll be able to get what you want as well. The book describes it fantastically. And mirroring is actually a strategy that he uses by asking questions. So when they tell you that the cabinets aren't covered, why do you think the cabinets are not covered? Well, because of, I don't know, because they're old cabinets. Well, why do you think that they're so old? You start really calling people out by asking questions and why it is that they're coming to what they're coming to. And they tend to start to realize that maybe what they're talking about is not what is supposed to be. These are just tips that have actually helped me tremendously throughout my career. You guys should give it a shot. Obviously, it's much better coming from the actual author itself. Getting CS is probably one of my favorite books because what it talks about is finding a common interest. So the common interest that I always find with the insurance company and the insurance adjusters is the insured. Let them know that at the end of the day, not only is his best interest and my best interest is actually for the homeowner, because what insurance is supposed to insure the person that they're going to be okay. Remind the adjuster that, okay? Because even though they do represent the insurance company, but remind the adjuster that what they're doing this for ultimately is to help the homeowner or the building owner out, to make sure that they are getting the money that they deserve to put their home back together again. Sometimes they tend to forget. Remind them of that. Okay. And then the last one is just a book I read years ago when I wanted to be a sports agent, and that was Winning with Integrity by Lee Steinberg. Lee Steinberg is a sports agent, and he was he's what they based the movie, what is that called, with Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire. They based Jerry Maguire off Lee Steinberg, and he's a sports agent representing NFL athletes. And what I came out with that book was that is, like I said before, he wants everybody to be a win-win. And the reason why he doesn't think that a negotiation should be a winner and a loser, for a couple of reasons. Obviously, you're just putting the other person down, making them feel bad that you just defeated them. And the other thing is I want you guys to understand is the longer you're in this industry, the more you're going to be running into a lot of the same adjusters that you're going to be negotiating against or with. So the more they see that you're level-headed and you're understanding and you're willing to give up a little bit to get a little bit, the better it's going to be in your future negotiations. That is something that I have learned tremendously. And I negotiate with the same people all the time, and they know already when they're, we've got a claim with Vince, he's going to be able to work with us. And again, it's not, sometimes I settle for less than I want to. But I talk to the client, I let them know, and I ask them, hey, is this okay? Can you live with this? Because we might be able to settle this thing today if you could live with this. And they're just like, yeah. And then what I do is after they get paid, I get my review on Google or whatever it is, and everybody's happy. Because at the end of the day, happy client, happy life. That is your number one priority from beginning to end. So remember that. Let's see. Try these steps and let me know what the results are. Oh, don't forget, Claims Game Podcast. This is probably what I'm honestly most excited about. So the last one's on YouTube is with David Farber, 20 years of experience, insurance attorney. The guy's a genius. If you want to learn anything at all, you're going to get a lot out of that. It's about an hour and a half. I think you'll like that one. I'm going to start interviewing some really experienced public adjusters as well. Next one's going to be at the end of the month, and I'm very excited about that one as well. So check it out. Thanks, Ray. Fire Podcast. I appreciate that. Now we're going to do a little bit Q&A, but before we do that, Milan's going to kill me. Let me see real quick. Let me see here. Okay, we're back on there. Let me see here. Hold on a second. All right, real quick. I want to show you guys really fast the Trello. Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on. All right, there it is. All right, let's see if we can do this. Yeah, all right. All right, so here it is. So watch this real quick, guys. I got 5 minutes. PA claim paralysis. I'm going to go. Those are all my other boards that I have. So here it is, right? So when you get a new claim, check this out. All right, we're going to add Christians as the last person. So Christian's a new claim. There it is. Enter. Now, when I go into his card, check this out, guys. I hope you can see it really good. Yeah, so the whole thing pops up. Check it out. So here I'll put the description. Water damage claim, damage to kitchen cabinets, cabinets, and tile flooring. Boom. So that's some damn. I could maybe put some other stuff, but check this out, right? I could put all these custom fields that I've added, that my assistant Dahlia has added. Thank you for that, DJ. And we've got the claim number, date of loss, cause of loss. Look at this. We've got little water, hurricane. Cool, huh? This is all custom that we did. Desk adjuster name, desk adjuster email, phone, field adjuster name. Look at this, huh? Client name. And then the other beauty is here, very important, you write notes. So I always be like, received call from insured, spoke about settling claim for $1 million. Right now we've got that saved in there. You know who loves this? Attorneys love this, because when it does go into litigation, we've got all the notes in there. And then the calendar's not in here. Oh man, usually the calendar's up at the top. I don't know why the calendar's not in here. Oh, so look, due date. So we'll see that. So now I just hit it today. Today's the 13th. We'll follow up again on the 20th. And then I'll get a little calendar thing that goes in there. And then once the new claim is filed, check this out. I can move it now to open claims. So now it comes with the follow-up. Once that claim gets that initial payment and I'm in appraisal, boom, I can move it to appraisal, or I'm in mediation, or we're in litigation, or we got some more stuff, waiting on client to deposit fee. So yeah, Pretty cool, huh? I figure you guys would like that. There's one more thing that I wanted to show you, but I think there was a checklist of the document. So yeah, so hold on. There's a claims checklist, right? So look here. Here, guys. So I get the sign. All right, LOR. Boom, sign. Deck page has been submitted. We've got that filed. We've got photos of damage. Now to file the claim, we call the insurance company. Check. We emailed the LOR. Check. We sent them the estimate. POL. So now just to make sure we've got everything in check, we do it again. POL. PA estimate. Boom, boom, boom. Just a sort of checklist. Really cool. I think you guys would like it. And it's not expensive like a crazy CRM. So if you need any help with that, I'll be glad to help you. All right, we're done. Sorry, Milan, I got off. I know he's probably just yelling and screaming at me. No, I'm kidding. How do I do this? Click here to close your message. You are screen sharing. Uh-oh. All right, close video. All right, so we're back. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's see here. So let's go here. Hey, Milan, there's only LOR template. All right, well, let's get to the questions. This is my job. All right, so where do I find the EMS coverage, for example, to dry the house? That's more often than not, Jerry, that's covered. That's covered no matter what. That's going to be covered under the dwelling insurance. So, you know, it's in the duties of the insured to mitigate the damages. In mitigating the damages, well, they need to dry the house out, and that includes the mitigation. Now, there is some limits they have with mitigation, like the $3,000 limit and stuff like that. Really, that's not your business. That's more has to do with the EMS team, the EMS company. If you find a good company, they could deal with them directly. A lot of times, there's a separate department in the insurance company that does that. Can an insurer or underwriter require? Wait, we're done answering. Wait, can an insurer or underwriter require payment for a copy of a client's policy? Require payment for a copy of a client's policy? I don't know. No. If you're requesting somebody's policy, that's actually just free. They send it to you directly. Contractors from directly bids and estimates send or info PA the under the in estimates. Sorry, Lori, I don't understand. Contractors, the from directly bids and estimates, the in send or info PA, the under in estimates. Okay. Not sure, Lori. I'm sorry. Can an insurer have different coverage limits for managed repair contractors versus the insured using their own for mitigation, etc.? Unfortunately, yes. Citizens, for example, SAS is, I don't know if you know this, but if you do not use their contractor, they only pay you a limit of $10,000. And the water mitigation is usually, an EMS is usually in that $10,000. So be careful. Again, read question back. Sorry, Lori. So in regards to, so citizens, if you do not use their managed repair program, which could be an estimate of $30,000, if you do not use them, you will only be paid $10,000. Again, you need to make the insured aware of all this stuff before the claim is filed, so that they are aware that, you know what, we're not going to use their people, and we're willing to pay you $2,000 to get the $10,000 limit. But you might want to be careful with the dry out company, right? Because, you know, if it's not too wet and they could maybe dry it out themselves, you might want to do that because it will go into their $10,000. Do you wait on filing the claim until you have the big four? No. Like I said, you've got about 5 to 7 days from the date that you file the claim until the initial inspection. So no, definitely not. You just want to send the LOR, and then that's when you start working to get all that documentation. Usually, though, you want to at least the day that you file the claim and you're out there for the initial inspection, you want to at least get that plumber out there and get that water mitigation. So it'll all start to come together as soon as you're there for the first time and you've determined that there's a claim. What's your advice if we have maple hardwood floors, 15,000 square feet? The eye only wants to pay for 1,300 square feet. He says that the 200 square feet was old water damage. How can I convince him to pay 1,500 square feet? Well, you got to do your best. I mean, that sounds like complete bullshit that they're only paying 1,300 out of the 1,500. That sounds crazy to me, because you have already got the majority of the floors that he's paying for. If he's already agreeing to 13 out of 1,500, I can't see how he's going to get away with that. If you think he's being unethical, to me, it sounds like he's being a little bit of unethical. Ask to speak to his supervisor and explain to him that if he's already conceding to 13 out of 1,500, it's not going to look right if you that's still a partial repair, but the majority is being paid for. So, I would fight that tooth and nail. However, remember, if you're willing to negotiate a little bit, and if the price difference is not that much, and it's okay that your homeowner or your insured will still be happy, and you could concede, I guess, to 200 square feet, that's always a possibility as well. But that sounds like BS to me. How can I make the insurance company pay for the deductible? Because at first they offer some money to settle, but if I ask for more, all of a sudden they say, if I pay you more, I will have to apply deductible and depreciation. That will even lower the net payment. Sebastian, is there limits here? Is that what that is? I'm not a little too sure. They're always going to apply the deductible. The only time the deductible does not apply is if they reach past limits. So, for example, if it's a total loss and the value of the estimate is more than the total loss on the policy, then deductible does not apply. If there's a $10,000 limit and the cost of the repairs is more than $10,000, then the deductible does not apply. I'm not really sure what we're. I don't know if we're talking about different coverages here. Laura, you asked a question here. Is it better to send estimates under your heading or just to send contractors estimates? And how do you feel about using categories and numbers like Excel? No Xactimate. I like Xactimate, Lori, and I like it under your heading. You are the one that's presenting the estimate. It's okay for them to know that somebody else put the estimate together, but I like it, with my heading on it. But either way, Lori, honestly, it's not a big deal. You could do it with the contractors as well. It's just might be a little bit harder for them to negotiate directly with you, and they may want to negotiate with the contractor, which wouldn't make any sense either. But it just makes it easier if you put your heading on there and use Xactimate. Don't use Excel. If the insurance carrier sends a ROR, reservation of rights, can they take longer than 90 days? No, I don't think they should. Maybe they think they can, but you need to put them on notice that they've already taken longer than they need. You've already provided them with all the documentation that they need. They've already done a recorded statement, inspection. What are we waiting for? Because here's the thing. I think it's Sebastian that asked this question. It shouldn't take them longer than 7 days once they have everything, right? You got an insured who needs to get his house done, or you got a building that needs to get repaired. Once everything's been provided and they've investigated and they've done their inspections, it shouldn't take longer than 7 days. So yeah, definitely no. Forget that ROR letter. That's just to save them a little bit. Adjuster only wants to pay for half the kitchen cabinets since they can be custom made. Best argument to have them pay for all the cabinets. Matching, it's all continuous cabinets. I think that's a complete BS argument. If you have the chance to take this to appraisal or to an umpire, I could almost guarantee you that's not going to fly. So you'll get all the cabinets. Eventually, you're just going to have to continue with the dispute process. If you get stuck and they're not willing to budge, stop it. Have them send the undisputed payment and send it to appraisal. Okay? Sometimes you can only get so far with the desk adjusters. Desk adjusters, no offense to desk adjusters, guys, but a lot of these people are anywhere in their mid-20s to mid-30s making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. They're working at an office. They're not usually the happiest of people, and they want to fight you guys. So if you can't get anywhere after a while and you provide all your evidence that you have, just have them send the undisputed payment and send it to appraisal or to litigation if you have to. I'm having an issue with an insurer telling me that they cannot send me a copy of the policy because they don't have it. How do I handle that? That sounds crazy. Ask to speak to a supervisor. It doesn't make any sense. They should have a copy of the policy. Another option is you could have the insured contact the agent, and the agent could email them a copy of the policy rather quickly. So you can try that out, Matt. Questions from comments. If I show them a report from a licensed roofer, they'll most likely only pay that amount. But you need to take 20% for PA, then it'll not be enough to replace the roof. How would you handle this? You're talking about providing an estimate from a roofer. I'm talking about just providing a report from a roofer. So if you need, for example, what I like to call a roofer for, especially during these times of hurricanes, is I'd like for them to go up on that roof and have them put together a report that states that the damage to this roof is as a result of wind damage. The damage to this roof is as a result of hurricane, for example, Irma damage, and more than 25% of this roof has been affected. Okay. If we've got leaks inside the house, and if you've been up in that roof and you see significant damage, you've got the evidence that you need, but it shows even better if you've got a roofer as well. But the fact of the matter is if you want to get remember your Xactimate your software, your estimator will be able to put a roofing estimate together. But if you want the roofer to go out there and put an estimate as well, you can do that. But understand and tell the client that there will be, if that's what they pay exactly, there will be 20% taken off. Make your client aware of all of it. Do you have to get a tarp and water restoration on all roof claims? When don't you have to call them? Active leak, non-active leak. Well, if it's not an active leak, then you could leave it how it is. Then you may not need to mitigate. You don't always need to put a tarp up there, but if there's a leak, usually, I mean, if you've got roof damage, usually there's 1 or 2 rooms that's got a leak. So you might have to put a tarp up there no matter what. So just FYI. Can your LOR and assigned estimate by the insured serve as the proof of loss notice? Essentially the same information. No, and the signed estimate. I mean, no, I wouldn't risk it. That's a better question for an attorney, but I wouldn't risk it. What's the big deal with getting a proof of loss together? You know what I mean? Especially if it's requested by the insurance company, John, I'd provide it. I would just get it done. What I found out recently is that the proof of loss does not have to be notarized. So just because of what it actually is defined, I still like to get it notarized just in case, but there are some adjusters who say that it does not need to be notarized. If companies like Citizens and People's Trust have managed repair, how do we get paid? That's the question, right? That's a $1 million question, Sass. It's going to be hard to get paid if they use a managed repair program, but it would have to be in litigation. So if they use a managed repair program and the repairs come out bad and they don't come out the way that they're supposed to, well, that's when you get into the litigation process. And once it's in litigation, they're going to have to negotiate and settle, and that's when you get paid. But unfortunately, yeah, it's the managed repair program is a real pain in the butt. And I'm always telling policyholders, and I want all of you guys to do the same, advise policyholders to stay away from policies with managed repair program and water damage limits. I have a really good success in mediation. Yep, so me too. Usually 85 to 90% of my estimate. Nice. I have so far stayed away from appraisal for fear of losing control. Are you a fan of appraisal versus mediation? I love appraisal. But I could understand why, Brian, you might be a little hesitant toward it because I don't know how experienced you are, but I know in the beginning I was as well. But after going through a lot of appraisals, I love appraisals because you could really, in my opinion, I think mediation, if you're getting 85 to 90% of your estimate, you're one of the few. Mediation, they don't usually really have much wiggle room from my experience. But if you've had better experience, then go for it. Nothing to hurt with mediation. But personally, I like the results I get from appraisal better. Do you use FCNR? If so, how useful are they? FCNR, what is FCNR? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. John, what is FCNR? Sebastian, insurance company offers money to settle for $25K without applying deductible or depreciation, but I need $35K. So they tell me if I pay $35K, I will deduct depreciation and deductible. That will bring me to $24K. Well, you got to keep going back and forth there, Sebastian. You got to keep going back and forth with them and find out how you can get to your number. I don't have the details of your estimate. And then obviously also speak to your client. If the next step, Sebastian, on your $35K offer is appraisal or is litigation or is whatever it is, and you might have to take that step. FCNR is a national underwriters. I've never had to deal with them. So that's complete honesty there, Brian. As an adjuster, can I also do the mold assessment, or would that be a conflict of interest? That's probably a conflict of interest. And I have no interest in doing any kind of mold assessment. That's what we have the professionals. They're the mold assessors. They have to take courses and exams and continuing education just like we do. I would leave that to the experts, Jerry. When is the next webinar? What's the topic? I have no idea. No idea, but it'll probably be next month. Will you be uploading this webinar to YouTube for replay? Yes, I believe this is going to be the last one. I believe this will be the last one that we upload for free. And the next ones will be, I'm not sure. We haven't figured it out. But the next ones for sure, you're going to have to be here live in order to hear and watch the webinar and also to receive the documentation and the tools that I like to send with every webinar. So I would say this is the last one that will always be on YouTube forever. Do you have the mold remediation under your estimate and fee, or do you keep it separate? I like to put everything in my estimate. Great question, Brian. I like to put it all in my estimate. I put the mold, I put the water mitigation, I put the proposals, I put it all. I put it all in my estimate. It just makes it a little bit easier when you're negotiating too, So I just don't want anything missed. And also remember, when you get to litigation, everything gets questioned and everything gets asked, and you want to make sure that at least if you have it all in your estimate, you know for a fact that the insurance company received wind of everything that was involved. Because if they didn't get some of the documentation because you didn't send it for whatever reason, at least you know that it was in the estimate. So I would include everything. Guys, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. That was fantastic. I hope you guys got something out of it. Like I said, we'll probably do a webinar next month. I don't know what the topic is going to be about, but I do hope that you join that one as well and that you could enjoy it. And we did perfect. An hour exactly. Milan, we did it. Huh? Are you surprised? Milan thought I was just going to talk too much. He thought that I would. It was impossible for me to be done by 12. But Jasmine, thank you. Hector, thank you. Jose, Sass, Billy, Hadi, Jasmine, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, last question. Would you call a water mitigation on a kitchen leak? Of course. But not active, just stain. I mean, it depends. They got those water meters, right? You got to put those water meters. If it's wet, it's wet. So things need to be done. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it and appreciate the following. Please share this. If you guys could share this once we put it up on YouTube by the end of the day, I would really appreciate it. And yeah, share as much as possible. We will have a commercial claim show on YouTube next week. We'll also have the blog that's going to come out. And then I believe in about 2 weeks, we're going to have the another podcast. So that'll be exciting. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Be safe out there. Do not get sick, please. All right. Stay safe. Don't get sick. Wear your mask. Oh my goodness. That's right. I forgot to promote the mask. I'm going to put a video up later on social media to promote some of the masks that we're selling. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. Godspeed.